Hi, I'm Jen. This is the Knits and Giggles podcast where I get to chat to you all about what I've been working on in my knitting life. It's been a little while, so we've got quite a bit to go through together. I'm really happy to be back and I'm very excited to run you through everything that I've been doing. So get comfy, grab your knitting, pour yourself a drink, and let's have a catch up together. So I think the last time I spoke to you, I told you that I'd finished knitting on a jumper for my husband. He'd watched a film called The Lighthouse, which has got Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson in it, and he'd really liked the jumpers that they were wearing in that on that film. So we kind of worked together to find a pattern on Ravelry that would kind of meet in the middle somehow. So he sent me screenshots from the film and I went on Ravelry, found something similar that gave the correct silhouette that I could then adjust the textures with. So the pattern that I landed on for that is called Benandonner, Benandonner, and it's by Interludes. It's a traditional Guernsey fisherman's pattern, fisherman's jumper, not fisherman's rib. Very traditional construction, really different to anything I've done before in some ways. In other ways it was really recognisable, but I have now finished and blocked it, so I thought I would show it to you even though it was a faux last time. So this is it. It's knit in Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool. I've pulled it out of his wardrobe, so that's how he likes to wear it, with the cuffs up. And yeah, it was a bottom-up construction, so nothing out of the ordinary there. As you can see, there was quite a bit of ribbing, and then it was just in the round for a long time on the stockinette. It's Aran weight, so it's a nice weight of jumper, but it also knit up quite fast, which was nice. And then you do the front and then the back with shaping for the neck, and then you graft at the top. The bit that was unusual to me was how the sleeves were constructed. So the front placard was up to here, including the garter stitch rows, and then when you started the sleeve you picked up along here and along there. So I've never had a sleeve that has such a deep armpit to it. But I recently ordered in a book to my library about Ganseys and Guernseys, and apparently this is a very purposeful design element, obviously kind of not in trend now, but obviously these were being worn by men who were working, and it was just to give them more ease. So this is a size XL for a 43-inch chest. As you can see, it's huge, but it's lovely and snuggly and he loves it. The only thing we might do is add a little bit of length to the body. I think I modelled it against a jumper that he already had, that he already loved and wore a lot, in terms of the length and the width of it across his chest. But where the ribbing is quite deep, like quite a lot longer than some of the ribbing I've done, it kind of cinches in more. So it is, even though it's the same length as other jumpers he has and knows and loves, actually it's not quite right. It kind of sits a little bit funny. So I think we're probably gonna pull out the bottom ribbing and then just shoot down another inch, maybe 2, and then do the ribbing again. So yeah, but other than that, very happy with it. The only other thing I would say is that with the sleeve construction, it's about using a lot of DPNs. I've not used DPNs in years and years. I'm kind of married to the Magic Loop life now, but so I didn't have that to begin with, but there were so many stitches, you were kind of looking at it as if it were a square rather than a circle, and I just kind of thought they would slip off. I just thought they would slip off. So I used Magic Loop, and I used 2 or 3, so I did Magic Loop up and over, and then for the stitches that I needed to pick up along there, front and back, I had a different one, so that when I came to the bit where I needed to bring the sides together, it was easy for me to see that I'd gotten to that point, and it was easy for me to, I think it was like knit 2-togethers and slip knits, that kind of thing. So yeah, just to keep it organised in my brain really. I used to have quite a bit of pride attached to not leaning on little kind of life hacks like that. But actually, do you know what? I just want my knitting to be as easy and pleasurable as possible. So if adding a few stitch markers or dividing across another, you know, interchangeable needle helps me just zoom through what I'm doing without making any mistakes, like removing that element of being able to make an error is way more important than me going, no, yeah, I don't need that support system. So yeah, the next finished objects, so I've actually got quite a few because it's been about 5 months, and I know that I said that I didn't want to commit to a schedule because what I don't want this to do is to turn into a chore, and I don't want it to turn my knitting into a chore. So the reason that I'm doing this is because I don't have a local yarn shop and I don't have a local knitting group that meets in hours that I'm able to meet in. So when I sit down in front of YouTube with my knitting, I'm treating the other knitting channels as my knit group, and they inspire me, and, you know, I'll find new patterns I wasn't aware of, or it's nice to see people with a similar silhouette to mine knitting a certain pattern and how that sits on them, and things like that. And I also, you know, when people talk about what they've come up against in certain patterns or with certain yarns, I find all of that really interesting. So I just felt like I wanted to add to that conversation. I felt like I wanted to be an active participant in this knit group. So what I don't want to do is to take away the kind of fun from that by going, well, I'll do it every week or I'll do it every fortnight, but I really wasn't expecting it to be 5 months. So sorry about that. It does mean I've got quite a lot of finished objects. So I think what I'm going to do is just run you through the garments that I've finished, which is actually way more than normal. But I am currently in between jobs. So I'm gonna preface this with, it's been 5 months and I'm in between jobs. This is not my normal output of a knitter, but I think I'm going to divide it into garments and accessories because I'm hoping that the time that elapses between this video and the next is shorter than 5 months. I'm also hoping, obviously, to have gotten another job sorted by then, so I will have way less knitting time. So I'm thinking it will kind of work out okay if I do the accessories that I did in next episode instead. So the next finished garment that I finished, that's the one, is the Step by Step cardigan by Florence Miller. I've knit this in, again, Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool, which is Aran weight. Last year I decided that I wanted to knit with natural fibres as much as humanly possible, whether that's cotton in the summer, wool in the winter, anything in between. Unless of course I'm knitting for somebody else and they need it to be easy to wash, easy to wear. Not that wool isn't easy to wear, but you know what I mean. So I sold everything from my stash that had any plastic in it. It's the kind of microplastics that I'm trying to avoid. And I went online and I found this Aran weight wool and I loved the colours. They're kind of natural and tweedy, and so I thought, actually, I'm going to get a sweater's quantity of each of those. So there's quite a lot of it coming up, which might be a bit of a yawn fest for you all. But actually, I really do love it. It smells so sheepy, so good. And from Dee wearing his and me wearing what I've finished, it is a really, really nice wool. And it's super reasonably priced because it's Lion Brand. So also very, very big hanks or skeins. So I use a lot of drops wool as well, and I love it, but so many ends, so many ends. So it's nice to knit a project and, you know, you can almost do one end to weave in for the sleeve at the start and at the end, and then another one from the top to the bottom, and yeah, so it's far less ends to weave in. So this is the Step by Step cardigan by Florence Miller. As you can tell, it is cropped, so my waist is here. It's got a double knit button band, which is the first time I've ever done that. It sounded really complicated when I started reading the instructions. You know, when your brain has been doing something a certain way for years and years and years and years and years, and then all of a sudden someone's like, oh, do something new, and you're like, no, don't have the capacity. But this step-by-step element of it is that Florence has done YouTube videos, which are free to access. So also if you're doing a double knitting band on something else and you want a more visual prompt of how to do it, I would absolutely go to her video for the step-by-step cardigan, because it just made it so clear and it's so easy. Like, it's so easy. I was so intimidated by it. I was like, I don't want to do it. I would just do ribbing. I will just do ribbing. But it is really easy and it just kind of looks seamless. It's just beautiful. I really like it. I haven't bought buttons yet. As I said, I don't have a local yarn store. But yeah, it's a really great staple piece. I made it in size C for a 36-inch bust, and it looks great with high-waisted bottoms. So yeah, this was one that absolutely was something that I wanted in my wardrobe, a kind of gap that I noticed. I'd be getting dressed and I'd think like, oh, I just want a little layer. And I've knit a lot of cardigans, but they're all a bit longer. And don't get me wrong, they look great with other outfits, but I would be putting them with the outfit I was looking at with a high-waisted pair of jeans or whatever and be like, doesn't quite work. So yeah, this definitely fills a gap in my wardrobe. Yeah, lovely simple pattern, but with the challenge of the double knit band was actually really nice, and really nice to challenge myself and learn something new. And now one of my WIPs has also got a double knit button band. So that's that one. That's in oak tweed, the colourway, and the colourway for Daniel's jumper in the same brand of wool is oatmeal. The next pattern that I finished is in 4-ply this time, so it's a completely different wool. This is the Zephyr's cardigan by Courtney. Zephyr's Tide cardigan by Courtney Little. It's knit in West Yorkshire Spinners exquisite 4-ply, which is 80% Falkland wool and 20% silk. It's got these lovely balloon sleeves. It was knit bottom up, so lots and lots and lots of stock in it. And then as you got to where you were going to go, just up one side, up the back, up the other side, graft, and then you could pick up and do the sleeves. There was just this lovely little stockinette band, which I really like, and then it goes into the double moss stitch, which I think is a really beautiful texture. The band is I-cord, which is knit as you go, so there was nothing to pick up after that. I think the only thing I did differently was that the sleeves were meant to be worked in the round, so you would have had 1 round purl, 1 round knit, 1 round purl, 1 round knit. And by the time I got to this, it was kind of November, December time, and I wanted like a mindless knitting project, like literal knit stitch knitting project. So I knit the sleeves flat backwards and forwards in knit stitch, and then I just seamed them. So I've kind of got like a little braid going down there rather than a big jump between the purls and the knit rows. And then when I got to the sleeve, to the cuff, I just joined in the round to do the twisted rib, which I also think looks really lovely. Because of the content of the wool and the weight of the wool, it's got a really lovely drape to it. It looks really good with high-waisted jeans. The only thing I would say is that it does have quite a halo, and I think it's already beginning to pill, which is fine. I've got a D-pillar, I can look after it, absolutely no problem. But yeah, I'm really happy. I've never knit anything this colour. I am super pleased with it. It looks really good. Oh, I can show you with light coloured jeans. So yeah, and this colourway is 403 Dusk, although I'm not entirely sure whether this yarn is available anymore, because I got this on sale last year at some point, so I bought 3 different colourways. Yeah, West Yorkshire Spinners Exquisite 4-ply. Don't know whether it's discontinued, but I got it on sale at Wool Warehouse online. And my last finished object is what I'm wearing. So this is the Winter's Pullover by Ozetta. It is a lovely, massive roll neck jumper. Or turtleneck, is that what you guys call it? You American guys out there. I've knit it in size 2 in West Yorkshire Spinners Fable, which is Aran weight, in 1223 Elder. I got this yarn on holiday, so just after Christmas we went away for a week to Dorset and Devon, and in Devon there was a yarn shop that had only been open for about a month called Yarnology. So I thought, oh, I just want to pop in there, see if there's any independent kind of local dyers, like I can buy myself like a skein of something, and I just fell in love with it. I'm just checking, 50% Falkland wool, 35% alpaca, 15% mohair. It's beautifully soft. It's got that kind of mohair halo to it, and it's just really easy to throw on and wear. You know, I think things like those cropped cardigans are wonderful, but you're kind of adding that as a final layer, whereas with this it's a little bit like putting on a dress in the summer, where it's just like, tick, done, that's what I'm wearing today. Like, you know, I've got a t-shirt underneath, but it doesn't matter what colour it is, and it's just, yeah, it's so easy. It looks so good with jeans. I think I'm going to jazz it up and wear it with a silk skirt that I've got as well, and kind of take it in another direction but still be cozy warm. And yeah, I'm really, really, really pleased with it. It's my first Ozetta pattern. I know she's super popular at the moment. I hear a lot of people saying that they've knit different things by her. It was a really good pattern. I didn't do anything out of the ordinary with it. Yeah, I think it's bottom up as well, if I didn't say that already. But yeah, I'm just super, 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 super happy with it. Really love it. So that's that. Okay, got a little bit out of breath there. This is not the first time that I have recorded this. So the first time I did it, it ran really, really, really long. And because I ran through all the garments and all the accessories I'd finished, because I've finished a few pairs of socks and, you know, a hat or two and stuff, it felt very bang, 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 bang. And it felt like I didn't have the space around each thing to actually talk about it. So yeah, I'm kind of playing with the pacing of it, but I'm also keeping an eye to the time and going, oh, please don't be too long again. So yeah, that's why I kind of got a little bit out of breath there, because I was worried about how the timing was going. So on to WIPs. Actually, I'm never going to talk to you about acquisitions. I am never going to do that. I don't like it. I am not much of a shopper, and I don't really buy yarn very often, maybe a couple of times in a year, and I'm kind of doing a low spend, no spend year in my private life anyway, but when people talk about everything they've acquired, you know, added to their stash towards the end of a podcast or whatever, it just kind of makes me a bit twitchy. Like, how are you gonna get through all that? Which isn't to say I don't have sweaters quantities worth of wool. I obviously do, because I've got all that Lion Brand Fisherman's wool that I'm getting through. But it just, I'm not really into consumerism, or, you know, and it's not that I don't want to support local yarn shops or local dyes or anything like that. I don't have that around me, so I don't have that near me. There's only one wool festival near me, two in a year, so, you know, I've very much kind of shied away from that, and I kind of don't want to get suckered into the trends around knitting and which particular brand everyone's working with right now and stuff like that. I want to avoid it enough that I can go with what I need, rather than when I was first a knitter I would get kind of pulled with the tide of, you know, what was on trend and what was in hot right now, and when I look back at the first few garments I made, they're not what I would pick up in a shop. They're not anything I would style on myself, but I would get so swept up in what everyone else was doing. So I'm kind of just pulling back a little bit and kind of being a bit selfish and looking at what's missing in my wardrobe in the colours that I wear most, or the colours that I want to. So I'm just looking at my jumper now because this is not a colour that I would normally wear, but I'm kind of getting more into neutrals and that kind of warm neutral colour. This is kind of a grey purpley, but it kind of looks a bit mushroomy sometimes. Like, I really like it, but I don't know anyone else that has bought or told me they're knitting with West Yorkshire Spinner Fable, which isn't the reason I bought it. I'm not, you know, trying to be different, but I want to be pulled towards what I'm pulled towards. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't want to get wrapped up in everybody else's ideal yarn or ideal pattern or ideal silhouette in what they're making. Like, I want to do what best suits me, and what best suits me is not to be much of a shopper. So, you know, like with this, I'll tell you where I got it from, and, you know, I'm not going to shy away from the fact that I spent money on it, and I spent good money on it. But yeah, I'm not ever going to be one of those people that's like, oh, I've had a delivery. However, saying all of that, around about Christmas, I went on the H&M website because we needed a couple of new cushion covers, because ours had literally, they were like woven linen, and they'd completely torn. We'd literally worn them out. So I went onto the H&M homepage for that because I knew that's where I'd got them last time. And in the sale was a canvas nappy bag, which is just the most perfect project bag. So, I mean, it's filthy already, but it's got, oh, I probably shouldn't. Oh no, I can, because it's a free pattern. So this is the cable knit chart that I'm using at the moment on my magnetic board with my magnets so that I can see where I'm at in the chart. It's also got 3 different compartments. So let me just pull this out and show you. So you've got 3 different compartments, and these are just velcroed on, but the way the velcro sits doesn't actually pull on the yarn at all. Genius. So yes, I have no children, and yet I purchased a nappy bag because it is perfection. So the pockets go, I took it on holiday and it sat in the footwell of the car. I think I'm going to buy some fabric paint. But the pockets go all the way around without a gap until you reach the handles. Yeah, so that's a ruler. Oh, it's perfection, honestly. So that chart is for the Rory Gilmore sweater by Gia. It is a free pattern, but it is one size only, so probably not massively size inclusive. I'm a 36 inch bust, and it's obviously going to be absolutely ginormous. So yeah, it's knit from the bottom up in pieces. I have ballsed up the side panel. That was meant to be in double moss stitch. It is not. It is in seed stitch, which is just the one. Had it been in double moss stitch, it would have matched what is going on in the diamonds in the centre. It's modelled on a jumper that Alexis Bleeder wears in one of the very early episodes of the Gilmore Girls. So it is massively oversized. I think I have to do about that much more, trying to show how long it is. And then it can go up one side, up the other side, and then the sleeves are knit flat, the back panel is knit flat, and then you seam them together, and then you do the collar. That's also in Fisherman's Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool. This is the natural colourway. So I knew that I really wanted a cream jumper to wear, and again I just wanted it that I could throw it on. It's going to be long enough, I think, that I can wear it with leggings, and it will just about cover my bum and all the important parts. So yeah, really enjoying that. But obviously takes a bit of concentration. The only weird thing I've noticed is that there, that kind of doesn't quite as neatly fit, but I've counted and I've definitely done the right one, so I'm hoping that it's just something that will block out. But yeah, love it. It's free, it's wonderful, and it's Aran weight. And then the other, so last month I caught that coldy fluey bug that was going around that everybody got, and so when I managed to get myself out of bed but still had no energy, I was spending a lot of time watching YouTube and really enjoyed everybody's what I made in 2025, and really enjoyed watching everybody set their intentions for 2026 and what they wanted to do, and whether that was make 9 or whether it was something different, whether it was a bingo card, or it was really interesting, and I really loved how everybody kind of approached it differently. And I toyed with the idea of make 9 because, like I said, I've got sweater quantities of yarn in my stash, but I don't want to be beholden to a pattern if something else comes up that is way more me or is going to sit in my wardrobe better or get more wear. So I thought what I would do instead is think about when I want to knit what weight of yarn in the year. So right now I'm knitting a lot of Aran weight. I don't have any bulky weight in my stash. I find it really uncomfortable to knit with on my hands. But I thought if I aimed to knit up as many of my Aran weight projects as I possibly can, which is about 4, it's not many, and then as the weather gets slightly warmer, move through, I mean the only DK weight I've got is cotton anyway, so that's fine, and then I've got some kind of quantities where it's like DK wool but with a mohair, so it's kind of somewhere in between DK and Aran. And so I just started thinking about, well, you're not going to want to knit on your Aran in August, so why not prioritise that and then do a kind of slide down into the lighter weights so that when it hits August, you know, you're knitting with 4 plies. So my next Aran weight project is, oh, it's just here, the Be Thankful sweater by Lily Kate France. I'm going to hold it upside down because it's a bottom-up cardigan. I've already knit it once, and I need to admit to you that I have no problem with the fact that I need to block my knitting. I see the benefit of it. I love it. I like the way that everything opens up and blooms, and it's wonderful. It's, you know, a gift to knitters that we get to block things and everything goes. I really hate wringing the water out after I've soaked it. Like, I really hate it because I feel like if I twist it, it's really hard to do that gently without wrenching it, without rubbing the fibres against themselves. But it's also really hard to do that gently and get enough of the water out of it. So the last time I made this in black, I tried it on when it was done and it was absolutely perfect. It was exactly what had been missing from my wardrobe. I could just picture all the outfits I wanted to wear it with. And I'm not a fashionista. I'm not a trendy person at all. It's just that I'll have something in my mind's eye and I'm like, how do I make that happen? And instead of wringing it out, getting a towel, laying it on the towel, rolling the towel, standing on it, going back the other way, then blocking it, I thought, I'm just going to stick it in the washing machine on a spin cycle. So I felted that bad boy, and it was so small I couldn't even think about donating it to a younger cousin or my niece. So I immediately bought more wool for it because I didn't want to put myself off from knitting it again because it was so perfect. It's a cropped jumper, cropped cardigan, and black just goes with everything. It does pick up all the cat and dog hair though. So you knit the rib first, which I really like. It's a purl 2 knit 1, but it's slipped on one side, so it just looks that lovely bit more poppy. And then you knit and increase the stitches ever so slightly, and then you do one front. I'm now doing the back, and then I will do the other front, and then I will graft the front to the back on each side, and then pick up stitches around the armhole to do the sleeves. It's Aran weight. I'm knitting it in Drops Nepal in their 8903 black. It's wool and alpaca, so it is 65% wool and 35% alpaca. It's really lovely. Not as with all drops yarn, it's just exactly what you need it to be. It's not particularly luxurious, but it's also not starchy and crunchy and horrible. It's soft enough for me. So yeah, I'm just kind of, this is sort of my mindless project. I knit, like I said, I'll show you next time, but I knit some accessories and they were kind of plain socks or plain hats, and I just needed something else. I just needed something. We were watching a programme on BBC iPlayer about the new dig that's going on in Pompeii, and it had a lot of subtitles because the archaeology team were Italian, so I needed to be able to look and knit, and you know, I didn't want to miss anything. It was a really fantastic programme. So yeah, this is kind of my mindless knit at the moment because I'm sort of a bit over little accessories at the moment. I kind of want to make good progress on my goal to knit up as much of my Aran weight stash as humanly possible. What do I need to tell you about that? So it's the Be Thankful cardigan by Lily Kate France. I'm knitting size 3 in Drops Nepal, Aran weight. So yeah, next time I will wring it out and I will lay it on a towel, and if I can't get enough water out, I will just lay a new fresh dry towel down and I will do another towel, because it is not worth felting and shrinking your knitting, despite the fact no heat was applied, which was kind of the bit that caught me off guard. And the last garment that I am, well, sort of the last garment, I am so in love with. It's a broken rib stitch v-neck cardigan called the Pearl Jacket by Helene Beba. It's knit in Yarn Smiths, which is the Wool Warehouse's own range of yarn. It's the DK Merino and their mohair, and it's in their colourway bottle green, which I really like. It's not the green that's on screen though. It's more of a foresty green than what's showing, but it is so soft. It's unbelievable. It's really lovely. I've done everything to pattern. It's kind of a bit cropped. It's somewhere between a normal length cardigan and a cropped cardigan, or an average length cardigan and a cropped cardigan. It's going to have that double knitting button band that I was saying I need to do again on another project. I have no idea what colour buttons I will get for this. It's knit in, so this is the large, that's what I wanted to say, I'm knitting the size large. The only thing I'm sad about is whenever I knit this, it dyes my fingers green. So I'm really worried that the saturation of the green is going to leak out. So I think I might do some research on, I think it's citric acid maybe, or using a colour catcher or something like that, but it is a really, really, really beautiful colour, and because the DK and the mohair are held together, it's a really nice weight as well. I am at the point of binding off, which is holding me back, because obviously this is a lot of stitches. This is the entire body of the cardigan, and it needs an Italian bind off, and I have never done one, ever. And the pattern has a link to a YouTube video about it, but it's not in a language I speak, which is kind of fine when you're learning something where a visual cue is useful to you. The problem that I have is that the pace of it moves quite fast, and you know, it's sort of similar when you start doing Kitchener's stitch, right? It takes a minute to kind of memorize the rhythm of what you're doing. Like, oh, so if I've come up this way, then I need to go back that way, or whatever it is. And so, yeah, I tried to just do a normal, like, in pattern ribbed bind off, but it just looked a bit crap. And I thought, no, I think it is worth doing the Italian bind off for sure. I need to figure out the way to memorize it. So I've been Googling how to memorize it. I found a reel on Instagram. I can't remember who it was because I watched it ever so briefly the other night. But what I think I might do is cut off enough of a tail to do the Italian bind off, and then place this on hold, and then pick up and knit the sleeve instead, because the sleeve also requires an Italian bind off, but obviously it's going to be much less stitches. So I'm thinking that I can use both of the sleeves to practice, and if I can't do it and can't wrap my head around it, then fine, I'll just do a normal ribbed bind off, which I think is what I did on the step-by-step cardigan. Actually, I think Florence Miller wanted you to do Italian, and I was like, can't do it. Well, that's a good point. I could check her YouTube video for that. So yeah, I'm hoping I can do it. I'm really hoping I can do it, but I also, you know, it's a lot of stitches. I need to not be interrupted. I need to carve out time to do that properly. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that, but I really do want to finish it. I just need to be a bit brave. Another thing that I currently have on the needles is a Vertices Unite by Stephen West. This is a modular shawl pattern, so each bit is done separately in modules. Sorry, that was a bit teaching you how to suck eggs. If you've never done a module knitting pattern, it's really good fun because everything is kind of bite-sized. So there are stripe sections like this, there's colour block sections, there are 2 sizes to the shawl. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do yet because I've just picked out a bunch of leftovers that were in my stash to try and use up, and I'm just going to see how far I can get with this section, and if I can get to the smaller size and I've got plenty of yarn left, then I'm definitely going to do the bigger size. This will be the 3rd time I've knit this pattern. I did one for me and one for my aunt. This one I think is going to be for me again. Just nice neutrally. But yeah, that's a really nice pattern to make if you fancy a shawl and you've got leftovers, or you've got mini skeins, or you've got like some absolutely popping independent yarn dyer skeins that you're like, I just don't know what to do, because there's one panel right at the front that is just pure colour, there's no striping or anything, so it's nice to be able to kind of showcase some stuff as well. So that's that. And my final thing is a little bit of a fail. So I think I spoke to you last time about how I'm kind of playing around with using Ravelry and using the advanced search on patterns, and for years and years, like I said earlier, I would just go by Hot Right Now, and then I kind of evolved into most projects because, you know, as a newbie knitter, if you filter the patterns by most projects, it means that you're pretty well guaranteed that it's a well-written pattern, or that enough people have done it that you can search within projects as well. So when you go on the projects page of a pattern, not only can you scroll through other people's pictures and you can see what it looks like on different body shapes, but there's a search bar at the top, so you can, you know, if, for example, one of the accessories I finished was the Huddle Hood by Karishka. Really fantastic pattern, loved it. As I got up here with it and I was working back and forth on the hood, it needed some short row shaping at the top, just, you know, to do this bit here. And she uses a short row technique called shadow stitch, which is not something I have ever come across. I've never heard anyone talk about it on any of the YouTube channels I watch. I've never heard it written in a pattern anywhere. And there are 1,000,001 different short rows techniques, and I'm sure everybody has got their favourite, or at least the one they're most familiar with, but it really held me back. It really stopped me from finishing the project for a few weeks. It just was like a hurdle I couldn't quite get my head over. I didn't have the mental energy to learn it. And I suddenly thought, I wonder if anyone else has just done wrap and turn. So I searched wrap and turn, and I searched shadow stitch to see whether anyone else had been like, oh my god, I can't be doing with this either. And that's nothing against her pattern writing. Like I said with the double knit button band, sometimes it's wonderful to challenge myself, but sometimes I just want to know what I'm doing and what I'm about. And when it's something like that, which isn't really going to change the look of it, I was like, I'm just going to do wrap and turns. So yeah, that's one way you can use search. The other way that I started using it last year, I've stopped using Instagram in the last couple of months. Just wanted that kind of distance from it. I have previously found it super inspirational, really loved it. I just needed a bit of a break. But on Instagram, there's obviously a lot of advertisements, unless you pay not to see them, which I'm not paying you not to advertise to me. No. And it would be things like Urban Outfitters or Vans or Free People, and I am always drawn to jumpers and cardigans, always. I am a snuggly, layered comfort person, and I would sit there go, oh, look at that, that's cool, and then thought, well, yeah, but I knit, and you know, there's only so many things I can fit in my wardrobe, and there's only so many people in my life that want things knit for them, so it's like, I wonder if I can find that in Ravelry. So one of the examples I had was Urban Outfitters had a very mohairy looking leopard print cardigan, which was 100% polyester. So I didn't want to purchase it anyway because, you know, I don't like the idea of microplastics in my wardrobe. So I typed into the advanced search leopard print, and was rewarded with hats and socks and all of that sort of stuff. So another thing that I realised that I could knit, I had like a light bulb moment of like, oh, I don't need to buy that, I can knit that, is a loungewear set. So I cast on for the Atlantis set, I cast on for the trousers before I cast on for the jumper. It's by Maria Isaeva, Isaeva. I've cast on the medium, and I'm using the recommended wool, which I never do. It's Drops Puna. It should be a DK. It just can't be. It just cannot be a DK. It is horrendous. The stitch definition is just the worst that I have ever had. And I've been knitting for, I don't know, 15 years, nearly 20 years. It is so janky and so uneven. And I can't figure out why I didn't go up the needle size from the ribbing either, because look how bad the ribbing is. It's just so uneven. That bit's not quite so bad because I steamed it. But like here, for example, is just... And it's not like, it's not as you're knitting that the yarn gets, you know, thick and thin and, you know, you need to deal with that. It's really uniform yarn. and I can't figure out why. So I've knit from the same ball that I'm knitting on at the moment, I've knit a swatch, and it's currently soaking because I thought I need to know whether this will block out, because if it doesn't, I'm going to sell this wool on eBay and buy something else in a few months' time, and try again with a different DK, because I was going to buy a different DK before, and I was going to go a bit plush and get something with cashmere content. But I was like, oh no, I like drop yarn, I'll use that if that's the recommended. Just look, it's so bad. But the other thing is that I'm going to stand up and show you. So that's the waistband. This is my waist right now. And it obviously comes out here. And the pattern says, do some elastic thread through it. And that's it. That's as much as the pattern says. And it's a paid for pattern. I don't know how to do that, and so I commented, because messages get sent to the pattern designer, and said, are there any YouTube tutorials you would use or recommend? And you know, I've never done this before, and that was about 2 months ago, and they've still not replied. So yeah, I was really looking forward to having a homemade loungewear set. I thought it would be like the epitome of luxury and comfort, and instead it's just kind of sad. So yeah, I think I will round it off there. I can hear my husband coming home with the dog, so before I am interrupted, I just wanted to say again that I am so happy to be able to be back here and talking to you. I'm sorry if the pacing is still a little bit off. This is only my second time doing it, so I'm obviously feeling my way around it. But I'm very happy to be catching up with you all, and I hope that you have all had very successful projects with your knitting or your crafting, whatever it is that you're getting up to, and I hope to catch up with you all very soon. Take care, look after yourselves.